Welcome to the Love Intervention. I'm Pastor Evans.
I'm Mrs. Evans.
So glad you're with us today. We have an exciting topic.
Right.
Talking about engagement. What happens during engagement? Once you say, will you marry me?
Right. What's supposed to happen, right?
What's supposed to happen?
Mm-hmm. And today's question is, what happens during the engagement period? So, what's your perspective?
My perspective, I know what happened during our engagement period. We had a good amount of time to talk about what we were going to do, but we didn't talk a whole lot about it.
Right.
We we're engaged, we're in love. We did the premarital counseling that we finished talking to you guys about, but if you watch the other episodes, you know that it was kind of shaky. But I think that for the most part, we got into planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do a whole lot of talking. We didn't have the boost that we needed from our premarital counseling to boost us into more conversations.
Right.
I know that for myself, I guess I just made the assumption that it was going to work out. So,
right.
Because I already had a very nurturing spirit, and my gift is service, and so because of that, I was just like, well, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah. And
no problem.
I feel like I had good examples of husbands, so I figured it was going to just work out too.
Right. We didn't really do.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we're still here 20 years later.
Right.
Because reflecting is like, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Because we didn't really do a whole lot. We did a whole lot of talking before.
Yes.
We got engaged when we were just dating.
Right.
We talked a lot about a lot of things.
We did a lot of kind of future talking when we were before.
Yeah, we did future talking before I even knew I wanted to marry you.
Right.
Right. And then once we got engaged, it was pretty much like I was in school, you were teaching, your first year of teaching, and yeah, we got engaged and we just took off from the races.
Right.
Trying to get this wedding together, figuring it all out.
Right.
And I had not yet even met your mom and sister yet.
Right. Yeah, it was an interesting time, which is why we're talking about it with you.
Right.
Today.
Okay, and so I came across a quote I wanted to share. The Bible does not dictate how Christians should spend their engagement, although there are allusions to how engagements worked in Bible times. A modern take on a godly relationship would look a little different, but it would still have three similar stages. The first would be two individuals recognizing each other as potential marriage partners, either through friendship or dating. The second stage, engagement, is an important time for Christians. Once a couple has either resolved or agreed to accept big issues in each other's lives, they can make the commitment to work towards marriage. The third step, marriage, is much bigger than the feelings of two people in one moment. If done properly and thoroughly, the skills learned during the engagement period should serve the couple throughout their marriage. In general, a Christian engagement should lead to marriage. It is a commitment to another person, and such commitments should be honored. And that came from Compelling Truth.
Right. I think it's, can I say one thing? I think it's interesting there that the end of that says, a Christian engagement should lead to marriage.
Right.
Right? Because some people stay engaged forever.
Forever.
Like you get engaged and been engaged for like 8 years.
Right. Like.
What are you doing?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. But it just seems like a long time.
I mean, but in my book, 3 years is too long.
Right.
Like, once you decide to get married, do that thing.
Do that thing. We were engaged for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't have to be as short as 6 months.
Right.
But I think the year max it out.
Right. Yeah.
Max it out, plug.
I think a lot of times people are trying to find funds to have their special wedding.
I know, but if it takes longer than a year, then you don't need to have that wedding. You need to have the one.
You need to have a different wedding?
Right. You need to have,
wow.
You need to have the one that works within a year.
Right. Actually, it's a bit too much money. I think we're going to do another. We're going to do an episode on what we spilled on our wedding, right?
Right, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with that.
Right.
It wasn't that.
So, what should the couple be working on during this period?
What should they?
Mm-hmm. And so, I wanted to talk about a couple of different areas that we discussed in other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first one is communication. This is the time for big issues to come to light, including faith, family obligations, personal challenges, and even struggles with sin. Both individuals need to know enough to be able to make an informed decision as to whether they can be compatible as a couple. And they need to take the time to ask God if this is the right person.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, because couples spend a lot of time, and we did too, with just having a good time.
Right.
That we miss opportunities to have discussions about some of the really important issues that are going to affect your new family, like family obligations and personal challenges, and even struggles with sin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't talk about our struggles with sin.
No.
Who wants to talk about their sin, right?
Yes, yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about their sin, but if you're going to merge your life with someone, you really got to be as open and transparent as possible.
Right.
And that begins in the dating process
Mm-hmm.
and the safety that you feel in that relationship, so that you're open and you can feel like you can share your struggles with sin, because everybody has what the quote unquote skeletons in their closet
Right.
type situation. But I know for even us, because I wasn't a virgin when we got married, who wants to tell their number? Like, even if it's a small number,
I don't want no number.
you know, but
Right. What? I didn't.
right, but nobody wants to say that.
Right.
Nobody wants to be really like, oh, my number is high or my number is low, or what is this person going to think about? But
Right.
that's sin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for some
Right.
people, it's a struggle.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
then also one of the things you want to talk about is your family obligations,
Mm-hmm.
your role in your family, and how that could affect your new family going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for me, I was the man in my family because my dad had passed away for years. So for my mom, when she needed something, she called me and she asked me to do it. And that would prove to be something that I had to, first of all, it had to be something that was pointed out. You pointed that out. I didn't even know I was doing it. It was just what I had been doing. And it became a challenge in our marriage. But had we had an opportunity to discuss that in our premarital time, whether counseling or not, if we had known to talk about just our roles in our family and how that could cause some tension or some struggle later, we could have dealt with that earlier. So family obligations, and I know for you, it was a little different.
Right. It was because in my family, I was like the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always, or I felt like, or it appeared like, I was there. I was the one held the family together, kind of like glued it together, or at least the part of my family that was my mother, father, sister, brothers.
Right.
That my immediate family before marriage.
Right.
And so because of those things, I was very open and I was very giving. And I didn't realize the effect that it would have on our marriage later on, because I guess I made the assumption that it's your family, you do whatever you have to do for your family, which your personal obligation, your family obligation sounds very similar to mine, but very different. And it proved to have many challenges.
Yes.
Okay, and so our next one is preparation.
Right.
Like the Israel grooms who build a living space for his bride-to-be, engaged Christian couples should spend this time preparing. The emphasis shouldn't be on the ceremony, okay, which may only last a few minutes. Like, the wedding only lasts really just a few minutes.
And you're not gonna remember a lot of it. That's why you
Right.
take pictures, and it's gonna be a blur anyway.
Right. But on practical and relational matters that will ensure the marriage is strong. So, we need to pay attention to the fact that the wedding
Right.
is only going to last for a little bit, and you really need to be preparing for the longevity of your marriage.
Yes.
A good premarital counselor will cover finances, housing, expectations of roles, and how childhood families create paradigms that can be completely foreign to the other partner.
Right. Yeah. So you got to get prepared for all of that.
Right.
And I know that a couple of things that you should be having this conversation about or preparing, you said was finances.
Right.
Right. So I know for us, we had a little bit of a challenge.
Right.
Or at least one of us had a little bit of a challenge in our finances.
I mean, we both did. I mean, I wasn't the best financial mind in the world.
Right.
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 I was better than you, though.
Right. What listen.
Okay.
I was growing. We had some issues. So some of the things you could talk about during the preparation time is how are you going to handle your bank accounts?
Right. Yeah, so that's a lot. I've found it to be a very large discussion that comes with many conflicts.
Right.
Over our 20 years of speaking with couples,
Right.
And talking with single people, I found that a lot of people have issue with when it comes down to merging your lives with someone or your life with someone and then bringing in their account. They're like,
Right.
wait a minute,
Right.
my account is still single. I'm going to be married.
I love him, but he ain't getting my money.
Right. Or, I'm not going to combine accounts. And really, when you're getting married, when you're preparing to merge your life, you're merging every aspect of your lives.
Right.
Includes money.
Yes. Yeah. So you gotta, during the preparation time, you gotta know how each other deals with money.
Right.
Right. And then, because at some point, if you're asking us, and you may or may not be asking us, but if you're still watching, you want to know. If you're asking us, in order for you to be fully committed and merged, you should have a shared account.
Yeah.
Right. Now we have individual accounts that we use to either surprise each other or do some things that lie outside of the budget. But even in that, we determine what goes in those accounts too.
Right.
So it's always a communication about what we're spending, how we're spending, and making sure that the money is the family money.
Right.
Because when you separate, I feel like, and you can speak to this if you want to, I feel like if you separate your accounts that way, you don't really merge your family.
Yeah, you're not merging every part of your lives, and then there are secrets to have to keep, and because then it becomes, well, I don't know how much money you got. Well, I don't know. It's just a lot of unnecessary conflict. And why bring unnecessary things already into a new life that is going to have issues of its own?
Right.
You don't need to just bring conflict from the outside in and start off with it.
Right.
Right.
And if you're gonna do that, you got to work through people's personal challenges. Now, listen, I had what you deemed.
Right.
What you call it? I'm not saying it. You can say it. What's it called?
He had hell no checking. Okay. Can I get an ATM card? Hell no. Can I get a checkbook? Hell no.
Listen, I wrote some checks that didn't have money to them.
Right. They didn't have money to them. They were rubber?
So they bounced a little bit, but there was a few of them. So the account that I had at the time, it was like, all you can do is come get some cash and you work it out. Now that's important for your spouse to know, so that when you move into sharing finances, y'all can have a conversation about how to make that work.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be an issue. Like the fact that his credit score wasn't all that high.
Yeah.
It was surprising.
It was bad.
And along with hell no checking.
It was bad.
Along with knowing that the only account he could get was the one his mama's name was on too. Okay, but that's enough.
Right.
Secrets.
Right.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't have to be an issue. It doesn't have to be conflict It's what you're learning during this period of preparation. And again, this is a time for big issues to come to light.
Yep.
Okay, and if both people have the information, if you open up and have these conversations, then you can decide if you want to be married to this person.
Right.
If their challenges, if your challenges, if my challenges are something that you can live with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But you've got to open up. You've got to be honest.
Yeah.
So that each person has the information that they need to make the decision on whether or not they should be wedded to you.
Right. Yeah, because if you write it out after the wedding,
right,
then it becomes more contentious.
Right.
So if you can do it at the time while you're communicating and preparing. And what's the last one?
Okay, so the last one I wanted to talk about was foundation building, refining your tools, the tools that you learn during the communication and the preparational period. This means that Christian engagement is not a time to try things out to see if they work.
Right.
It's a time to develop communication skills that can be the basis for a healthy sexual relationship. It's a time to learn how to love sacrificially. Resolution skills, love, and communication are surer signs of a lasting marriage than convenient personal compatibility at a particular stage in life.
Yeah. I think when you're reading the section you said there about, what was it called? Learn how to love sacrificially.
Right.
That is something I think that you have to learn how to do.
Right.
Because I don't think we naturally as people love sacrificially.
Right.
Right? We love people and if we try to love people in a way that's convenient for us most of the time. But for your marriage to work, you have to learn how to love in sacrifice.
Right, because the way that you grow and stretch during marriage, it hurts.
Yeah.
But it's not that it's hurting to your ruin. It's hurting to make you better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the truth is that you have to love someone and sacrifice your single person, your single life. I mean, that's what loving sacrificially means in this aspect of it, right? When you're merging two lives together, you have to give up your singleness.
Right.
And I think a lot of times people don't want to give up their singleness. Right. Well, you don't have to give up who God has created you to be.
Right.
But you do have to give up your singleness.
Right.
You can't be in a marriage and be single.
Right.
Like, you can't just hold on to all the things that you used to do and think that you're going to continue to be able to do those, because the life that you lived as a single person is gone.
Yeah.
And you've taken on a new life.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't negate your personality. Right. It doesn't negate your gifts.
Right.
It doesn't negate what God has called you to do. It enhances it.
Right.
Then if you allow it to, it will make you better and make your spouse better.
Right.
God tells us that when we get married, the two become one flesh. Right. So if you're trying to stay two, I think so many people fight so hard to try to stay two people.
Right.
When you're really supposed to be one entity or one life.
But that doesn't mean that you have to give up the things that you enjoy doing on your own,
right.
Your hobbies and things. It just means that you are making space for this new life.
Right. Yeah. So that becoming one means that you think like a we instead of a me. I mean, it's really that simple. You think like a we instead of a me.
So, what should the couple be working on during this engagement period? We covered communication, preparation, foundation building, or the refining of your tools.
Right.
But we would be remiss if we didn't bring up the fact that during all of this, it can get stressful.
Yes.
Right? During the engagement period, you're doing all this talking, you're doing all this fact finding,
right.
You're picking napkins, getting dresses, or dealing with family, sending out invitations, like
getting engraved cake cutters.
Right. You're doing all the things.
Cups.
You're doing all the things.
Right.
But we really want while you're thinking about being married, don't forget, during this time, spend quality time with each other. Mm-hmm. Don't forget, because at the end of this wedding period,
right,
your marriage.
Right.
And you need to have been still connecting with quality time during this period, so that you have something to hold on to, and you don't feel like you're drifting away, even before you get married.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can be so worn out by the time you actually get married from all the wedding planning and preparation that you get tired.
Right.
You don't want that to be the beginning of your wedding.
Now you can't put any effort in. You're like, oh, I'm so tired. Now you're 6 months behind on a marriage that just started.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be behind the 8 ball on day 2.
And we want you to remember, you're not married yet.
Yes.
During this engagement period, you're not married yet. So, if you've been sneaky a little bit, maybe take some time out and sneaky. Take some time out of the sneaky.
Right.
Spend quality time together sitting up. And remember, you're not married yet.
Sitting up.
Mm-hmm.
She said don't have sex.
Well, okay. So remember, you're not married yet.
Yes.
Okay. And then still continue your date nights.
Right.
Don't forsake the date nights because you're too busy planning. Don't let the planning be the date night.
Right. That's not a date.
Right. So, and some of us or some of you may have children already.
Yes.
And now you're taking care of kids, planning weddings,
Yeah.
taking care of family, all this good jazz. But don't forget to have your date nights.
Yeah.
Because those date nights help to build proper intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're building this intimacy, don't forget to build memories.
Right.
And do activities. Not just go out and eat, but just continue.
And do some fun stuff.
Yeah, do some fun stuff so that it won't feel so overwhelming. Right. Because I'm telling you, we were almost.
We were one invitation choice away.
Right. We was one.
From putting on a suit and your dress.
Right.
And driving to Vegas and saying, forget all these people.
All of them. We was about to elope.
And we almost did more than once.
Right.
But we got through it.
But hold on.
Help is on the way.
Right. I don't know.
Gospel songs?
I was singing To Your Love. You got to hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Okay.
Oh, In Vogue. To Your Love.
Right. Okay. Right.
I got you.
All right. So do you
anything else I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think we got through everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
This was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So see you next time.